Today we're doing two NFL player props here on PrizePicks for Monday, September 15th. You guys, before I get started, take a look in the description below of the video. Hop into the Discord, $9.30 per month, 31 cents per day. Again, that's where I post all the plays that I'm making on PrizePicks. We have other cappers in there as well. Overall, it's a super positive community. Everyone in there just trying to help each other cash. Currently doing a promo right now for first-time members of the Discord, 20% off your first month using promo code TUFF with the link in the description below. If you are interested, it comes out to like $6 for the full first 30 days over in the Discord. But let's not waste any time. We got two games today. We got Tampa Bay, Houston, and then Chargers, Raiders. Should be some good matchups, honestly. I like these two-game Monday night slates. It's interesting that the Tampa Bay Houston game starts at 4 p.m. depending on where you are, and then the Chargers Raiders game starts at 7 p.m. Again, I'm on the West Coast, so it is interesting how they're not overlapping them. They're just having them be straight up to one game ends and the next one starts. So very interesting here, but two player props that I do like for this slate. Let's not waste any time. Monday Night Football, let's get into it. First play I'm looking at here is it's going to be Baker Mayfield and Stroud pass yards combo at 462.5. If you compare this to Herbert and Geno Smith, it's quite discounted. Obviously, Geno Smith threw for like 300 yards. Both these guys threw for 300 yards last week, so it makes sense we get these lines. But at 462.5, given this matchup for these two guys, I like this spot for both of them. Taking a look really quickly over on Outlier. Again, there's a link in the description. You guys get a 7-day free trial with Outlier. Elite research betting tool, you guys. I do use this every single day to research my bets. 7-day free trial with the link in the description below. But Baker Mayfield's line here on PrizePicks is at, I don't know if that's what his line is at PrizePicks. Let's actually look it up. Hold on. Let me go to pass yards. What his line is on PrizePicks, it differs, based on other books. 233.5 on PrizePicks. So let's go to here. We'll filter this to 233.5, which is actually kind of high compared to what it is on other books. He's over 233.5 in 11 of 18 games last season, right? 11 of 18, averaging 260. I mean, we're talking about Baker Mayfield. And, he finished third in the NFL in passing yards, 4,500 passing yards last season. We know he can throw the ball all over the field. And, this Texans defense and the Tampa Bay defense are very good run-stopping defenses. We look at last season, Tampa Bay right here, 7th fewest yards per carry in the NFL, and then the Texans here, the 3rd fewest yards per carry in the NFL. Both these teams are elite at stopping the run. We saw in week 1, kind of similarly, Matthew Stafford threw for 245 passing yards against the Texans, and in that matchup, Kyren Williams only averaged 3.7 yards per carry, 18 carries for 66 yards, tough time on the ground. We also know Houston has pretty good corners as well, right? Derek Stingley and I can't remember the name of the other corner. But again, Stafford, 21 for 29, 245 through the air, averaging 8.4 yards per throw. Really had a nice day. But again, like I said, elite run-stopping defense in Houston. Baker Mayfield probably going to have to be throwing the ball all over the field. But talking about C.J. Stroud in that matchup here, he's over his passing yards line, let's see what his line is at, 229.5. So we get 233.5, 229.5. C.J. Stroud, going back to Outlier, over, let's actually switch this to 229.5 then so it's more accurate. Over 229.5 in a 12 of 19 games last season, but when he plays at home, he's so much better. Over in 7 of 9 games last season at home, averaging 255 passing yards through the air. All right, 255, which is, to me, really, really good. If we can get 255 from C.J. Stroud in this one, I really, really like the upside for it. We look at quarterbacks, or Michael Penix just last week against this Tampa Bay defense, 27 for 42, 298 through the air, 7.1 yards per throw. So Michael Penix just basically threw for 300 against this very similar Tampa Bay defense. And in that same matchup, we saw Bijan Robinson, debatably the best running back in football. He only had 12 carries for 24 yards, 2 yards per carry, similar to Tyler Algier, the backup. 10 carries, 24 yards, 2.4 yards per carry. So we saw this, again, Tampa Bay defense, elite run-stopping defense, really, really give the Atlanta running backs a hard time, which again resulted in Michael Penix throwing for 298 against this Tampa Bay defense. So again, I really like this spot. Like I talked about last season, Texans, Tampa Bay, both top 10 run defenses. And we look at kind of passing yards allowed to the quarterback position last season. Tampa Bay allowed the 3rd most, and the Texans down here at the, I guess this is the 13th most passing yards to the running back position. So again, strong matchup. I think at 462.5, I'd probably play this up to 465. Again, if it does bump up or down. These passing yards lines, they bump up and down drastically for some reason. But at the time of me recording this video here Monday morning, I do like this line here at 462.5 passing yards combo for Baker Mayfield and CJ Stroud in this matchup. The second play here is going to be a tackles plus assist prop. It's going to be where is he at? Devin White. Devin White over 6 tackles plus assists. Now, Devin White, like we talked about, or I guess we haven't talked about, he signed to the Raiders, right? It's a brand new acquisition this season, first year with the Raiders. He was with the Eagles last year, and then obviously was a legend kind of linebacker with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Again, you can debate that if you're a Tampa Bay fan. I'm not a Tampa Bay fan. I know about Devin White. I've known about, obviously, Devin White for a long time. He finished with 11 tackles plus assists in week 1 against the New England Patriots. 11. Right, so 8 total tackles, 3 assists. He did play 100% of the snaps as well, right, which is key here. He is kind of that captain, middle linebacker. He played 100% of the snaps for the Raiders in week 1. We know Pete Carroll really can deploy linebackers, and kind of the scheme that Pete Carroll runs defensively has, kind of been well documented as being able to empower linebackers to be all over the field. Like we saw the legendary career Bobby Wagner has that middle linebacker for the Seattle Seahawks with Pete Carroll. And similarly to what we're seeing here for Devin White. That's why I don't really understand this line here. Again, on books, over 5.5 is at -146 on DraftKings, -160 on BetMGM. So heavily favoring a push here at minimum for Devin White at 6 tackles plus assists. And I do love these tackles plus assist props. We're talking about Devin White, a player that, for 3 straight seasons had 120 plus tackles plus assists from 2020 to 2022, right? Dealt with some injuries, over the course of the last few seasons, right? Tampa Bay, Houston, even last season, right? In week 1, he played 68 total defensive snaps. Last season, he didn't even play more than 50 defensive snaps, right? And we talk about like when he plays those types of snaps, right? Tackles plus assists, 7, 7, 7, 9, 5, 12, 9. Even going back to 2022, obviously 21, he was a monster. 2020, he was a monster. Like, you talk about these games for Devin White. Look at his game log in 2020. 15, 15, 14, 12, 12, 12, 11, 11, 11. Like, a massive tackles plus assists upside guy. And at 6, I really like the upside. Also, we look at last week, the Chargers. You can't really do, I guess, week to week because teams' offenses are so different and things like that, and defenses and schemes and things. We did see Nick Bolton, main linebacker for the Chiefs, finished with 8. Chamari Conner, I think he's a safety, finished with 10. Drew Chenko, other linebacker, finished with 5. In this one, but again, 100% of the snaps for Devin White. I love this upside. Also, we look here at Devin White in his one game back in 2022. And this is the only time he's faced a Greg Roman offense. Greg Roman is the offensive coordinator for the Chargers. He was the offensive coordinator for the Baltimore Ravens here from 2019 to 2022. And in 2022, again, this is the only kind of comparison we see when Devin White has faced a Greg Roman offense. And back in 2022, he faced a Greg Roman offense in Baltimore. He finished with 10 tackles plus assists in that one, 6 solo, 4 assists. But I do like the upside here. Again, juiced over -146, -170 down here on Caesars for over 5.5 tackles plus assists. We get it on PrizePicks here at 6. I like this upside here a lot for Devin White. So 2 player props, you guys. Monday NFL football slate, Monday Night Football. Stroud, Mayfield, pass yards combo, Devin White over 6 TA. It's not 6.5, it's 6. All right. Please drop a like, hit the subscribe button, you guys, and as always, let's cash.